Mic check one,
Yo,
two.
get out of here with them weak ass shoes, yo.
Balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love.
What's up, Balls D fam, to another episode of Balls D with Devin Jovan. Today we have a special guest. You already know him. You're familiar with him. The one and only Nico. Welcome, Nico. Appreciate you for coming
Of
on the
course.
show once again. If you haven't already, go check out his fight on our Instagram. He's got another fight coming up, so hopefully he'll send us some highlights and we'll post it up on our Balls D page again. Hopefully he goes 2-0.
Oh
But
yeah, oh
Nico,
yeah.
before we get started, where can they find you?
You already know, man. Hello, everybody again. You can find me on my pretty much just my Instagram, Nico Bancalari. So yeah, man. Let's get it on.
Alrighty, so another episode of Champions League. It's the semifinals, and before we get started, I was right. PSG upset Bayern. It was a close one. It was technically they didn't beat them. It was a tiebreaker, but they won the tiebreaker, so they're moving on, and that's all I'm happy about. I was 4-0. Now I gotta represent these guys with my backdrop. But we're gonna start off with the Real Madrid Chelsea matchup. Last round. Real Madrid beat Liverpool 3-1, and then Chelsea beat Porto 2-1. So it seems like you guys were right about the Chelsea Porto matchup. I thought it was going to be a little high, I felt like it was going to be a lot more high scoring, even though Chelsea was holding teams to a low number of goals. I was wrong, but I was right about the fact that it was going to be a close one and Porto was going to put up a fight. Now, as for Real Madrid, it looked like Liverpool was gonna put up a fight when they scored a goal, but then they just gave it right back up, and they were able to handle their business and do what they got to do to move forward. So, speaking of this matchup, Real Madrid Chelsea. Before we get started, Tuchel, if you believe it or not, has never beaten the Real Madrid's coach. What's his name?
Oh,
I don't know how to pronounce his. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Tuchel, and he's never beat Zidane.
No, Guardiola. No, is it Guardiola? No.
Guardiola is Manchester City's.
Yeah. Not I'm thinking of Guardiola, but he's
Zidane. That's the Real
yes,
Madrid's coach. Yep.
yeah. So he's never beat him
Oh.
at all. So it's gonna be a tough one. So they haven't been giving up goals, but it seems like they might meet their match this round. So starting with you, Nico, how do you see this matchup panning out?
Well, I mean, look, it's the semifinals of the Champions League. We are at the point that, like, I mean, and even in the quarterfinals, it was hard to pick a team, but now it's getting real hard. And but again, I just can't go against Real Madrid. Like, again, and look, this is again. I think it's the same thing that happened with Dortmund, and before Manchester City, and what we were talking about the experience. This Chelsea team does not have a lot of experience, especially in big games. They have a lot of young players that are very good, but believe me, to win a Champions League, you need that experience. You need those players that have been there before and know how to play these big games. And Real Madrid has a lot of players that have won 3 or 4 Champions Leagues already. So I mean, the only thing right now that worries me is the injury for both. So, I mean, that's a big, both of your center backs are out, but they might come back, I think, for those games. So, if they're back, they definitely should be fine. But you saw with Liverpool, Nacho and not Danilo, sorry, Militao, the backup center backs, they've been playing really well. So, I mean, to be honest, those two, they're backups, but they're Real Madrid backups. Like, so. They're still really good, and you got Nacho who has experience, and Vinicius is finally starting to, just like play more consistently better than before. Before he was, always, and that's why, like I said before, and again, He doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's starting to play better. You know, he has Benzema up there. You got Asensio, who's playing well again. He's playing really well again. And that midfield trio, the Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric, man, they've won like 4 Champions Leagues. Like all of them. So I think Casemiro only 3, but it's still, it's insane. Just having that much experience and that much talent in the middle of the field, it definitely gives you a boost. I mean, I think it's gonna be really close, but again, I think Real Madrid is gonna take it. I think the experience is gonna show at the end of the day, and like the only thing that I've seen lately is that uh, Chelsea has done really well against all the big teams. I saw a stat that like against the 6 bigger teams that they face, they've won every game and not allowed one single goal. The problem is that again, it's semifinals of Champions League. I don't care who they play before. At this point, it's gonna get hard. And I think Real Madrid is gonna take it at the end of the day.
Man,
I mean, uh,
I don't know how to feel about this matchup, honestly. This is a tough one, as is the other matchup we're going to speak about, but this one's a tough one for different reasons, and it's, exactly what Nico kind of just spoke on. It's like this Chelsea team looks really good under Tuchel, like really, really good. Like they seem to have it figured out.
yeah,
But Real Madrid has that championship DNA. Like they've been here like consistently. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure this is their first time making it since 2018. But before then, it's like they're
Yeah,
they're
semifinals.
always in the mix.
yeah.
Yeah,
So they have that championship DNA, like Nico said. I mean, they even have players that are still on that team from the last time they won. So
a lot of them. Yeah.
and that experience means so much at this level. But um, it's real tough, man. I think I'm gonna go Chelsea in this. I just feel like they're a real dark horse.
Yeah.
Some might say, even I feel like they might have had the easiest route. I mean, and when you say easiest route, that's not no slight. There's no easy route. I mean, when you get to the quarterfinals and the semifinals, there's no easy teams. But they have had the easier routes. But I think they're also feeling that underdog mentality in the sense that people probably feel like they don't belong here.
Yeah.
They are very young, but I also think that makes them very hungry. So I think they're going to pull it off. I think it's going to be really, really low scoring in both games. So I expect them to advance on like a 2-1 aggregate.
Yeah. So to correct myself, the Tuchel is hasn't beaten Gorodola. So I was correct in my first statement. So I want to correct that now. It wasn't the Real Madrid's coach. It was the Man City coach. He hasn't beat.
Oh,
Yes,
Guardiola. Yeah, yeah.
but Real Madrid Real Madrid is 2-0 against Chelsea in its history, head-to-head matchups. They beat them 3-2 in 2016, and they beat them 3-1 in 2013. But I think this is a different team than they faced in the past. Because, like Jovan mentioned, Tuchel's got these guys playing really well. Since the coaching transition, this team has looked like a totally different squad. Defensively, they've been balling, and because they do what
Oh
they
yeah.
have to do to keep the game low scoring and give their offense a chance to click and help them move forward. And that this is not just Champions League play. We're talking about outside of Champions League as well. They're playing really well under Tuchel. So
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be low scoring because I already doubted the low scoring last round, so I'm gonna keep it low scoring. And they like Jovan said, they are the underdog, but I'm gonna ride with Chelsea in this one. Everyone seems to go with Real, but I'm gonna ride with Chelsea for a simple reason, and it's because I don't want to give away my next prediction, but I kind of am with my backdrop right here. But I want Tuchel to face his former team in PSG in the next round. So that's what I want. So I'm going to speak it into existence here, and because I think that'll be a really good matchup in the championship for Champions League. So I'm going to go Chelsea.
All right, all right. Yeah, yeah, man. Hey, listen. I look. Like I said, so it's Champions League semifinals.
Yes,
Who knows what's gonna happen.
yeah,
And like you said, there's no easy route. Believe me, man. Champions League, man. Once you get in the
yeah.
round of 16, you already know easy matchup.
There's
Like
no
me,
easy matchups.
it
No,
the Champions League. There's a reason why the Champions League is considered like like if you win the Champions League, you're the best team in the world. That's as simple
yes,
as that. And it's just as simple as that. So. And look, like I said, look, Tuchel has been doing really good against all the big coaches, and Chelsea has been playing really well. I get all of that, but I just can't go. I can't pick against Real Madrid. I
no,
just can't.
definitely.
Like, I just, I
I
like it's
respect that.
my team. It's my team, and not just because of that. Like I said, I just don't think. Like I said, Chelsea. And look, Chelsea has really good players this year, and I actually really like the team they like built before the year started. I said that Chelsea was going to be really good because of their players, even though having good players not always works out the way you think. Just buying really good players, um, but I do think they have that definitely a really good chance of beating Real. It's definitely not like I'm like, Real's gonna beat them pretty easy. But like I said, believe me, I think that experience, that just they've been there before multiple times, is definitely gonna help them out. So
Definitely.
we'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
I
fun.
mean, I
I have a
mean,
couple of Chelsea friends,
I mean,
so
Real is the favorite for a reason in this matchup. So there's no reason to doubt Real. I wouldn't be surprised if Real moves forward, but I just think Chelsea's got a chip on their shoulder. Like no one expected
yeah,
them to make it this far. So, but why stop now? In a sense, like just
oh
keep
yeah,
keep it pushing. I mean, I think they prevented teams from scoring more than 3 goals, but I want to say 2 goals outside of maybe one or two matchups where they allowed 3 goals. But
yeah,
they've
yeah,
kept it low scoring, which is really good for them in giving themselves a chance moving forward. But with the
yeah,
next matchup, PSG versus Man City. So
yeah. What a great matchup.
these people or analysts, I should say, are saying these are the two best teams remaining, and so the winner of this matchup is the favorite to win it all.
Yeah,
So last round, PSG beat Bayern at a 3-3 aggregate. They won the tiebreaker because they scored 3 goals on the road, and then Man City beat Dortmund in a 4-2 aggregate. So people we're basically saying Man City is the team to beat, obviously outside of Bayern, but PSG proved that you got to put some respect on their name. Neymar was the player of the matchup. Then Mbappe came out in the first leg scoring like crazy, and that's the main reason why they're moving forward. So my question, I'll start with Jovan. How do you see this matchup taking place?
Um, it's tough because, like you said, it was. I mean, Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich is the favorite. Man City's a very close second, and then you got PSG there in third in the beginning of all this. Um, and so now it's like, I mean, where do we rank Paris again over Man City because they beat Bayern, or I mean, and that's why we get to see this amazing matchup now. Um, get to see it come to fruition right in front of us. I mean, there's a reason that they say the winner of this game is going it should go on to win it all, or at least that they would be the favorite. Is because I mean these teams are just above all, better than most teams. But with that being said, I don't know how I pick against Paris Saint Germain at this time. Just because they are riding so high now after taking out, like we all agreed on, the best team in this tournament, the most complete team in this tournament. They took them out. Obviously, it was very, very close. Like, there's no doubt on that. It was very close. They won on a
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
I mean, you could tell
Um,
that Bayern missed Lewandowski. He could
yeah,
definitely been a factor should he have, played.
100%. And so, like, the fact that it was even that close and it took that much to beat such a giant. I think they're gonna come out there and just you know ride high on the fact that they were capable of beating them, regardless of how it happened. They beat them. Um, they did what they needed to do to advance. So I think they're gonna ride high on that, and I think I got PSG in a really close one, another really close one. But I think this one will obviously be a little bit more opposite of Real Madrid Chelsea, where I said low scoring. I don't think it's gonna be crazy scoring, but I think we'll see a few more goals in this one.
Well, I definitely want PSG to go through. You know, I don't like Manchester City, and and not just that, but like they historically they've never done that well in the Champions League. And Guardiola, the only time he won a Champions League when he had the best team in the history, one of the best teams in the history of soccer, which was the Iniesta, Xavi, and Messi Barca. Then he went to a Bayern Munich team that had just won the Champions League and did not win it with them. Then he went to Manchester City, and he's been there for like 4 years now, and he cannot even like go through like quarterfinals of Champions League. So because of that, I'm definitely picking PSG because Guardiola he's a great coach. Obviously, I'm not hating on him at all. I'm just saying he cannot win big games. You know, Champions League games. He was not meant for that. You know, like he's tried years and years now, and he cannot win the Champions League with another team that is not like the legendary Barca team. So because of that, I'm definitely going with PSG. You know, and yeah, PSG just beat Bayern. You know, and we all knew they could do it. You know, it was just it's still Bayern. You know, that's why I pick Bayern. I only pick
Yeah.
Bayern because it's Bayern. You know, I couldn't pick against them, but. I definitely knew it could happen. Like I said, he only needed Mbappe to score a couple goals, and he did, and that's all they needed really. So, the second game. I mean, I watched the second game, and it was kind of like, I mean, they had some chances, but PSG was just kind of holding the score, which is fine. That's what you do when you win the first game, a little, and they missed a couple of chances too. So I think PSG might have even been able to like tie the game at least, but um, no, I mean, like I said, I actually think PSG is a little better than City. Like, I mean, in the Champions League, because like I said again, Man City is a great team in the league. They do amazing in the league. Like Guardiola teams are known for being really good in the league, but then when they go to the Champions, they're not that good. Like they always lose. They can never pull it off.
Yeah,
So.
you feel a little bit more comfortable with the consistency of the PSG than you do with Man
Oh
City.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, and Man City. I mean, it's not like they're just like I said. There's not like they're not like super consistent for me. Like
Yeah.
like I said, it's just that
But
like
in big tournaments.
yes, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
That like they definitely haven't been consistent like in the previous years. And yeah, I just can't play against a PSG that's riding high right now with Rick and Mbappe, and then you got Neymar that came back and he's killing it. And then you got the defense playing good. Midfield's playing good. You got other players that are doing really well too. So Di Maria is playing really good. I mean, everybody's playing good.
Yeah.
And come on, they made it to the finals last year. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's not they could definitely do it again.
And they
So
lost the finals to the team that they just beat. So.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I understand. Like I get it. So many people are behind Man City. I get it. I really understand. I understand. They're a great team. They look amazing, but they don't even play with a striker. They play with no striker. Like that's fine. But like it's gonna come back, and I think it's gonna matter in some games.
Oh,
And
it's definitely
you
gonna
know,
matter against a PSG
I
team that
think
can
so. Yeah.
score with anybody.
Yeah, and
So
I mean they have a good defense, so they're not gonna allow to
yeah,
do whatever you want to them, so yeah.
So you mentioned it. Man City has a hard time moving past the quarterfinals. So they actually advanced past the quarterfinals for the first time in I think a while. So
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
yeah. So
Well, yeah.
so I say the rain stops here, and they're gonna lose in the semifinals. And the only reason why they got past the quarterfinals is because they played the inconsistent Dortmund team that you guys have been bashing for the past two episodes. So,
Yeah. I mean
so,
that makes sense. That makes sense to
so,
me.
but in the history of these guys
I
playing,
mean, one could argue they had.
in the history of these guys playing, Man City beat PSG 1-0 in the 2016 Champions League. They tied 2-2 in the Champions League in 2016, and then they tied 0-0 in the Cup in '08. So it's been a close matchup every time that they've played. So I'm not expecting any different here this year in the Champions League. However, PSG I have coming out on top. It's gonna take PSG. I mean, it's gonna take Man City a lot to get over a PSG that's riding high, like you guys mentioned. If anything, if PSG does not advance, I think it's because they beat themselves. You seen what was happening against Bayern. They came
Yep.
out hot in the first leg, and they almost gave that game away. If it wasn't for Bayern missing opportunities, they would have lost that match. One more goal and it
Yes.
was over. And then they come out in the second leg and Bayern pretty much controlled that matchup, and that's because
Yeah.
PSG was missing out on opportunities in that match or in that leg. So if PSG wants to beat Man City or beat a team of Man City's caliber, they need to be more consistent in all the way through first leg and second leg. Although
Yes.
like Nico mentioned, Man City's not as good as Bayern, so I'm not as worried about it. But
My
it's they're still a good team, so you got to come out strong all the way through, especially riding behind your two best players in Mbappe and Neymar. Neymar's riding high in terms of being the player of that matchup against Bayern, and then Mbappe's just been on a scoring spree
yeah.
for a while now. He's looking to get paid, which I don't blame him. And so I think PSG is the team to beat in the tournament left. And
Yeah, I
like I
agree.
mentioned when we were talking about the last matchup, I want to see Chelsea versus PSG. I know
Yeah,
I
that'll
know
be fun,
Isaiah's a
bro.
Chelsea fan. I was already talking shit to him, saying I hope they make it to the finals, so that PSG can beat them. And
RJ Sows, he's a Chelsea fan as
RJ
well.
Stones, but I didn't get the chance to talk to
Yeah,
him
a
because I
couple.
will
Yeah,
talk
we
shit
got a
to him
couple
too,
people.
even though they both know more soccer than I do.
Um,
I'm
but
gonna talk
yeah,
shit. I'm gonna talk my shit.
that I think that would be a great matchup. A very good, a great offensive team in PSG who also has a very great defense, but against one of the better defenses that we've seen in this tournament, like we said,
Oh
being
yeah.
able to keep teams to score a lower score. So that would definitely be an interesting matchup. But overall, I think in the big picture of this tournament, I think the biggest thing, because I agree, PSG is the team to beat right now. I think they are the best team. Um, but with that being said, I think the biggest thing for them is just not getting complacent. You know what I mean? Not being comfortable. And I mean, it's the semifinals in the Champions League, so I don't think there will be any issue of that for them.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can see teams get complacent or get comfortable where they are, and that's when they, allow
And
themselves to go down.
yeah, and not just that. Actually, one thing I've always noticed with PSG always is that they do miss a lot of big chances. Like they, I mean, not like I mean, obviously every team does, but I don't know why I feel like PSG always. Every time I watch them, I always see them miss like really good opportunities. Like for example, in the Chelsea, in the Bayern game, in the second leg, Neymar was right in front of the goal with no defenders. He was alone and he missed completely. And I'm like, that right there would like if Bayern would have scored another goal, that was your tournament right there. So I know that he got the man of the match, which I don't agree with it because he missed the most clear opportunity of the whole game. And if Bayern would have scored one goal, they would have been out.
For sure.
So how are you the man of the match if you miss the biggest opportunity of the whole game? You were alone in front of goal. You just had the goalie to be.
Yeah.
Like those are the chances. Exactly what you said, Devin. I think you said it. Like like you cannot miss those chances. Like I said, I always see them. Like for example, not just again the not. I was watching another game too with PSG, and the same thing. They were missing chances. Last year's final, Mbappe had one play same thing. It was just him and the goalie, and I forgot what he did. I think he kicked it out or kicked it
Yeah.
right out nowhere. So those are the chances that you cannot miss, especially at this point. Like you're playing too good of teams to miss those chances. And I think PSG has to make sure they're in top. If they have the good chances to actually, because they could score goals. Even at the hardest. It's funny because they can still score goals even when they don't have those super clear chances. The problem is that you do need to like take advantage of those clear
Yeah,
chances. Those are
I agree. I was surprised to see Neymar win the player of the match.
yeah, yeah, me
Although
too.
he's played strong since coming back, it surprised me that he
Yeah,
won it
yeah,
over Mbappe because Mbappe had such a really good first leg. That's the reason why they even won the matchup in the first place. So I figured he
yeah,
would have won player of the match.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it is
Like, he played good that game, but
Yeah,
still,
I mean, it is what it is.
still,
But it
yeah,
is.
exactly.
I'm definitely excited. I think this is probably the
Oh
most
yeah.
invested I've been in soccer. And so you could say I'm slowly but surely becoming, more of a soccer fan.
Hey,
I've been
I'm gonna
playing.
throw some
I've been
shit.
paying more
I,
attention.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna throw some shade at like other sports right now. So the Champions League final is more viewed every single year in the Super Bowl, every year, way more.
Hey,
So it's
I
like
can't.
just
I,
You say
I
you're
can't.
gonna shit on every sport, and you just said one thing about one sport.
well, yeah, because well, every other sport should feel ashamed too, because they are not even in the picture. So
So,
like
so
that's what I'm
I
saying.
can't argue
Like
that because this, like I said, this is probably besides last year, this is the most I've paid attention to a Champions League. So this is my
yeah.
first time, actually witnessing it. So I can't
Oh yeah.
disagree with you, but I'd let the fans agree or disagree with you. So
To be
so
fair,
feel
to
free.
be
Wait,
fair,
hold on.
soccer is
It,
worldwide.
it,
Well, that's what
it
I'm
is,
saying.
but feel free to blow up the comments and whether you're agreeing or disagreeing with Nico's statement. Or
No, you can't agree or disagree. Those are
no,
facts,
no, I'm
bro.
saying
Those
agree.
are
I'm not saying
facts, bro.
agree to disagree. I'm saying agree or disagree.
I'm joking. I'm
But
joking.
or if you agree or disagree with anything that we're saying in terms of who we have moving forward in these matchups.
Yeah, yeah.
But before we go, I wanted to mention because it was announced not that long ago the Super League of the Super League that's filled with 12 big clubs in soccer. They basically announced this Super League, and they've just been getting backlash from fans from everywhere, to the point where UEFA has threatened to ban every team and player that participates in the newly formed Super League from all UEFA and FIFA competitions at the European and international level, and that would include the World Cup. And since that announcement, both Chelsea and Man City have reeled it back, and they are on the
I,
process of leaving that Super League. So
I actually,
I don't understand like what's so bad about the league. So I'm gonna let Nico explain why it's bad for soccer, and so the fans and myself can get a better understanding of it.
okay, so actually, I have a different opinion. Actually, I think it's not bad for soccer at all.
Oh,
I think it was a good idea, and I think we're dealing right now with the probably one of the most corrupt in like organizations in the world. You know how corrupt the NCAA is, right? FIFA is the same thing. FIFA is the same thing, and unfortunately, and what happened is, I mean, at the end of the day, when we deal with these huge organizations, they only care about themselves, and what happened was, 12 teams, six Premier League teams, three Serie A teams, three La Liga teams got together and they were like, okay, we're gonna make our own league, only, and we're gonna play like midweek games, kind of like a Champions League, right? But okay, tell me why that's a bad idea. I mean, I don't see why that would be a bad idea at all. I mean, they did not say that they were gonna stop playing anything. They didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna stop playing the Champions League." No, no, they just said we just want to start that. So and then what happened? FIFA and the UEFA, like, they were not involved, and so that means that there's no revenue for them. So that means, oh, okay, now is the problem. Now that's a big problem now. What they want to make their money on their own, and that's why they're making. They said that the teams will not be able to play in their own leagues. They said they couldn't play in international, like the Champions League or the Europa League, and then they said the players that would play would not be able to play for the national teams for the Euro Cups and then for the World Cup, right? I mean, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, I understand why they're doing it. It's because they're not involved and they would not see that revenue. And people are saying, "Oh my God, this would ruin soccer." I'm like, why would this ruin soccer? I mean, the teams did not say that they're gonna stop playing the Champions League. Like, I mean, why wouldn't I want to watch a Real Madrid, like Chelsea game, like midweek randomly? I would love that. Why? If they're still playing the Champions League, like, or so I don't understand. I don't understand what people don't see why FIFA is making such a big. Come on, FIFA. Why is the World Cup in Qatar? No, nobody knows. I don't even people don't even play that much soccer in Qatar. They just did it because of the money, and nobody bat an eye. People are dying. People are literally dying building the stadiums in Qatar, and nobody says anything. But then 12 teams wanted to make their own league, and now it's a huge deal.
yeah.
I don't see it, man. I just don't.
So
I don't see what the big deal is.
before Jovan goes, when I first seen it, I thought it was a really good idea. Like, hey, those are the
Yeah,
matchups that everyone wants to see. But then I go on Twitter
exactly.
and then I see everyone's rioting the
Yeah,
league, and I'm like, why? I was confused.
yeah.
And it's funny thing is, so an NFL page that I follow, they broke it down. It was a Giants page, by the way. They broke it down like this:
Yeah.
the Super League is like the NFC East decided to create their own league, a league of four,
Yep.
for example, and whoever wins that league or that division is the world champion. And so
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be like that,
they basically said, "What's wrong with that?" So
Yeah, exactly.
so
Exactly. No, but that's actually a pretty good way
It's
to
the world
explain it.
champion of that league.
Yeah, exactly. They're the
so
champions of that league.
yeah. So
That's
but
it.
the
So
funny thing is, so Bleacher Report, the soccer Bleacher Report, they came out and Arsene Wenger, I don't know who he is, but I'm sure you guys know who he is. They say he's seen it coming. So
yeah,
back
Arsenal
in
coach.
'09,
Yeah,
he said maybe in 10 years you will have a European league. The money that will be, coming in from the Champions League will not be enough for some clubs. And then
yep,
back in 2018, he says, if you look at the audiences of the Champions League, it is not fantastic. But if you have Real versus Barca or Real versus Arsenal or Manchester United versus Bayern Munich, every week the audiences will be good. It is inevitable. Why? First of all, it's a sheer money between the big clubs and the small clubs will become a problem. So basically, this league is just taking all the big clubs and putting them in
yeah,
a league of their own. And
exactly. Yeah.
what confuses me is most of the time those teams are going to be coming out of their own league to represent them. So what's the difference? It's besides
It's
money.
not about that
Besides
even
money,
now.
what's the difference?
It's all about money.
Yeah.
It is literally, unfortunately, it's literally all about money right now because it's exactly that. It's exactly that. The prize money that the Champions League gives them is probably not enough because it's not enough. They give them a couple million, bro. It seems come on. There's players like pay millions to every player. Almost. So it's like a couple $1 million in prize money is not enough. So. I get it, but like I said, look, I think there would have to be a better way to do it. That's the thing, that's my thought. I'm like, there had to be a better way to go about these, but like for example, right now the Champions League format has changed. It's not gonna be the same next year, and it's gonna be 36 teams, and it's gonna be in groups. It's gonna be horrible now. Like I don't like it. I didn't like that at all, but nobody said anything about that, right? You didn't hear anything about that. Now it's gonna be like groups, and now you know why? Because there's gonna be more games. That means more revenue for the FIFA and UEFA. But nobody said anything, right? But then 12 teams wanted to create their own thing, and now everybody's like, "Oh, football is destroyed." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like I don't know. I don't see what the big. Like I said, there had to be a better way to go about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have to do it like that because already all the Premier teams already like left already.
Yeah.
Like they already left, and then I think Barca and Atletico already left too. So what? You're gonna have 4 teams there now? So it's you see that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's gonna happen.
All right.
Now. We'll see what
All right, so
happens.
all I got from what you just said is that you pronounce it UEFA. Is that really how you pronounce it, and not UEFA?
I mean, that's
No,
how
that's
most
just
people
how you
pronounce
say
it.
it.
No.
That's
I want to correct
You don't have
myself,
to
so I say it moving forward. It's UEFA.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
UEFA,
UEFA, yeah.
Oh, okay.
but it's UEFA. But that's just how people say
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say
The
UEFA.
All right, UEFA. So, alrighty. So, but I mean, I'll let Jovan speak on this topic because he has yet to go.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, honestly, this is Nico's speaking is really the first time I've heard anybody put a positive spin on it because it seems like a majority of people aren't really a fan of it. I did actually text Nico as soon as I saw the news and kind of asked him to explain a little bit about what it meant, because I wasn't completely sure what a Super League, what exactly they were talking about at first.
Pretty
So,
random.
and Nico did give me that insight. So, it didn't seem like a bad thing at first. Um, I saw a lot of people saying that they think that it was a game sort of started by a poor man and just taken over by rich people, which I think they're speaking about the clubs in the Super League.
Yeah.
Which I get that. I get it. It might feel like that, but again, it's weird when I hear Nico speak about it. He makes a great point. Why is there this double standard? It almost gives me that feeling of like when a NFL player decides he wants to go and look at other teams and everybody's hating on him, or when he wants to get traded, everybody's hating on him. But the minute he's traded in mid-season and he's got to pick up his things and leave his home, nobody bats an eye. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, UEFA and FIFA's kind of taking advantage of these big clubs for years for more money, and now that they want more money, people are hating on the clubs rather than the organizations that are kind of banking so much money.
I forget about saying this. This is a big point. all the revenue these teams were getting were from UEFA, like from the Champions League tickets. They don't have tickets anymore. So are you giving them more money? You're not. So
Yeah.
where are they gonna get all that money from? Champions League tickets in like for example, like Real Madrid Stadium. You want to get a ticket for the Champions League? The cheapest one's going to be almost $100 per ticket, and they fill out stadium every game in Champions League, like 70, 75, 80,000 people per game, bro. And that's I'm telling you, like 80 euros is like the cheapest ticket for a Champions League game. Like so that you gotta understand, man. Like these teams, they need the money, man. Like COVID has hit them hard too. Like they need that money. Most of the revenue they made was from tickets, and they're not getting it anymore. So, like and look, I agree with that, Fibo. I hate that about U.S. sports. I hate it with I hate it so bad that you don't have control of yourself. The teams control you. That's what I love about that's the one thing I do hate about U.S. sports. Is like why do teams decide what your future is? Like completely, you have no say, no say at all. And exactly, people are like, when nobody cares about when somebody gets traded, but you don't think about everything that goes behind that. You need to. His whole family needs to move. His whole life needs to move.
I mean,
But,
some of these guys are finding out they're being traded when they go on the internet and see that they're being traded, and the team doesn't
bro.
even notify them.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like nobody cares when that happens, but when the team, when that player wants, more money, or he wants to see his other options, or he wants to be traded somewhere because he's unhappy with the situation, it's like he's a villain.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same scenario.
It's very similar.
And so, like I said, I didn't still fully, even after you explained it, I still fully didn't understand why so many people were against it. And after you kind of going more into it, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like it wasn't an issue until, like you said, the teams never said they were going to stop playing anything else. They just said they were going to start this league.
Yep.
It seemed like it was more of an issue when UEFA and FIFA made it one.
Yeah.
100%.
At least that's what it seemed.
100%.
My thing is, so although this doesn't look like it's gonna pan out to still be a super league, I want to mention like these matchups happen, not that often, and people look forward to those matchups. So now, should it, eventually happen, it's happening more frequently, which will then boost revenue for these clubs, which will ultimately, pay dividends. But I don't think until fans are allowed in these games, which is soon, I don't think it'll benefit anybody. So I'd say hold back. And I think with basically UEFA and FIFA being notified that these clubs are unhappy with their current situations, they're gonna have to come to a compromise. And I think the Super League will eventually happen down the road, but they're obviously this time around UEFA and FIFA are gonna be in the loop. They're not gonna be caught off guard, and they're gonna get some sort of revenue from the Super League.
That's all they care about.
Yeah, and once they do that, they're gonna be happy campers. So it's not gonna even matter, and they won't essentially ban the players or the clubs from these big tournaments, because when they threaten to say these players and teams won't be able to participate in the World Cup. I was like, that doesn't even that doesn't even benefit you, because half the best players play for these clubs.
100%, exactly. That's what I said. It's like you can't not live with. You can't just say that, because you literally would be losing those teams have maybe more than half of maybe the FIFA World Cup players. They go there, So you just can't do that.
Hey, maybe UEFA and FIFA called this league's bluff for now. Maybe it was a bluff, smoke screen.
Hey.
Maybe they called it for now. But down the road, I could definitely see it happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see. Because the president of Real Madrid, he was like, we're not backing down. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
If the price is right, then
that's a pretty big club too.
If the price is right, then money will talk, and we'll have to see down the road if it ends up being a thing. And if UEFA and FIFA are included in this league, so that's all we have for you guys today. We made our predictions on these last two matchups of Champions League. You already know who I'm riding with to the very end. Then you already know who Nico's riding with to the very end. Jovan's team's not in it right now, so I don't know who he's riding with, but he's more than welcome to say who he is riding with to the very end.
Hey man, I called him a dark horse. I'm gonna ride with them. I'm gonna ride with the
Oh,
underdog of
okay.
of the rest of this tournament. I like Chelsea. I
That's good.
I feel like other than maybe Man City, because Man City can't finish either. But I feel like it would be something relatively new, a new champion, a young team. They seem like they're up and coming. So if they could do something big, this early in their careers, I mean, who's to say they can't be something special? But I mean, they look really good right now. And I know a couple Chelsea fans that I'm cool with, so
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a ride with their team for now. I
Makes
think
sense. Makes
All
sense.
they're
right, it
looking
makes
good.
sense. So now you know who Jovan's riding with to the very end, until the wheels fall off,
Until
which is basically the end of the
follow.
tournament. But catch us next time, and make sure to go check Nico's Instagram out. Go check out his highlights if you haven't already, and go show love to our peoples at the Expansion Pack Podcast. It's a gaming podcast. They got the content, so go check them out. They just dropped the episode this week. Show love and continue to show love to us. And when this comes out, the very next day will be our bonus episode. It's our NFL draft episode. We just recorded it this week. We had fun recording it, Jovan. Speak for yourself. But this
Yeah.
was better than the first one. So
It was-
so if you like the first one, you're gonna love the second one. All right. So make sure to check that out. Remember, the draft is a week away. So you
yeah.
know, go tune in. Go tune in.
And also, this episode drops on April 21st. Uh, but to those who partake, happy 420, happy holidays to you all.
Like Stephen A.
Hope
says,
you enjoyed
stay off
yourselves.
the weed.
To those who partake. Um, but yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Alrighty. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
You're talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. My boy's talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love.